How you doing out there? It's me, Tigger. I am Darkwing Duck. It's me, Bonkers, the Bobcat. All right, y'all, this is Ray, your favorite firefly. It is I, Hondo Ohnaka. My name is Jim Cummings, and welcome to Toon'd.
Welcome to Toon'd In with Jim Cummings here on the Four Finger Discount Network. I am Brendan Dando, joined right now by the Professor of Pop Culture. He is Guy Davis.
Hello, podcast pals.
As well as producer Chris over there. How you doing, Chris?
Good. How's everyone doing?
Everyone's doing fine down here in the land down under. And of course, there, the man of the hour. He is the one and the only Jim Cummings here to talk about Hondo Ohnaka. How you doing?
Superb. Thank you for asking.
How's the life of a scoundrel?
You know, it's good to be the pirate. Pirates get away with a lot. The thing is, you can't be the bad guy who's just evil. He's just this, he's just that. Because I tried to give Hondo a certain sense of humor about himself and about his approach to it. In fact, this is the one character, him and probably Darkwing Duck are the two characters, but definitely Hondo, that I just ad-libbed tons of things. And in fact, while we're making the movie Christopher Robin, one of the producers came up to me and says, "Do you subscribe to Vanity Fair?" And I go, "No." And he said, "Well, just pick up the one on the newsstand now and read through it." And I said, "Okay." So I did. And right in the middle of the magazine, it had this little tribute to Hondo Ohnaka and his top 12 most famous lines that he had. And he had tons of lines, you know, like, "Oh, my goodness, Ezra, the stories I could tell. So many of them true." You know, and he just came up, and I realized as I went down the line there, I made up 10 of them. 10 of them were ad-libs, so I felt really good. So I'm glad Hondo's here to you're bringing him out into the world.
I'm guessing that someone at Vanity Fair might be a bit of a Jim Cummings fan, because there was also an article in that magazine around the time Christopher Robin came out saying there is an Oscar-worthy performance in Christopher Robin.
Chris, were you writing for Vanity Fair at that time?
Yes. He was.
But there it was. It was Jim Cummings gives an Oscar-worthy performance voicing Winnie the Pooh. I'm like, nice.
Yeah, I was told about that. And then I bought that one. So now I have two. Now I have two Vanity Fairs.
You're waiting for the next one. Why aren't they talking about me anymore?
Yeah, I know. Hey, it's been a couple of years.
The best podcast online.
Top 12 episodes of Toon'd In with Jim Cummings in the next episode of Vanity Fair, hopefully.
Yeah.
But you said you improvise Hondo quite a bit, as well as Darkwing Duck. Have you ever improvised something when you've gone, it's probably a little bit non-PC for Star Wars? Or do you sort of, are you able to sort of get yourself at the moment and go, no, don't cross that line? Like, is there a line you just never cross with Hondo?
Hard to say. I'm sure I crossed it a few times. It just didn't make it to the
They went and delete.
Yeah, and delete. I mean, I can remember silly ones. I mean, this has nothing to do with Hondo, but just basically there were these two hillbillies. I think it was in I can't even remember what it was, but it was these two hillbillies, and they were going across the desert, and they were looking for something or this and that. And one guy says this and that and the other thing, and I said, well, that ain't mine. It must be urine. And I ended up back in the studio redoing that line. No, you have to say yours. You can't say urine. I said, okay, fine. So nothing to do with Hondo, but...
I wonder how many gems Disney have to their name because of you that you've improvised. It could probably be never ending. Let's Lion King for one. You got the fart joke in.
Oh, yes. I'm good at that. I've done that with 2 major motion pictures. Thank you. Yes. Ray the Firefly. Oh, excuse me. And then, of course, Hakuna Matata. And I got downhearted. Tell him, how did you feel every time that I boom, but not in front of the kids? Sorry. Hakuna Matata. Jess Harnell and I did the demo for that so that the other two guys could. And they kept. And I remember going up to Don Hahn at the premiere, and I went, "You kept the fart joke in?" He goes, "Well, it's the funniest thing in the movie." And I went, "Oh, good. Yeah, I meant to do that. Yeah, okay."
I don't see the fart joke tax in my paycheck though. So
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't. And where did that? Where's that residual?
Like that's literally the moment everyone remembers from that song. You did it. But you have no credit to it. That's insane. But
Yeah, and then I read it was in the L.A. Times, and it was interesting. They said something about never in a Disney movie has there been a reference to a bodily function so blatant and so cleverly done and blah, blah, blah. And then they quoted me. And of course, they gave it to Nathan Lane because they said, that Nathan, oh, my. And I'm thinking, oh, yeah, I'm going to strangle him. And then and then they also praised the most deliciously not demonic, but whatever, villain song ever. That was Be Prepared. And Jeremy did the first part, and great guy, and his incredible voice, that speaking voice, he's amazing. But I finished the song.
I did the good bits.
Little sidestep there. But don't tell anyone, whatever you do.
But bringing Hondo to life, what did you want to express about Hondo? Not just in the dialogue, but the way Hondo just sounds. It's like you're painting a picture of his history every time that he talks.
Well, Hondo, he was two incredible character actors, Yul Brynner and Charles Bronson. And that's one way to cover your tracks, because that way you're not doing a dead-on impression of somebody. And that's kind of one of my philosophies anyway. If you do a bad impression, it's a new character. So I purposely did a mix of two pretty strong characters, Yul Brynner and Charles Bronson. Excuse me. And you kind of put them together, and out came Hondo. And then you just make him braggadocious and full of himself. So, yeah, I just loved him. I got 2 Emmy nominations out of that.
I should hope so.
Yeah, one year, and I'm 0 for 5, by the way. Thanks for bringing it up.
What were the other 3? So 2 for Hondo, what were the other 3?
Tigger was up, Darkwing was up once, but that year there were 5 nominees, and I was 2 of them, and I
really,
yeah, I didn't win. Tigger and Hondo, and same with the Annie Awards. I'm really good at presenting, and I'm great at being nominated. I'm just not all that good at winning.
Always a bridesmaid, never a bride.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, but you know what? The check cleared, like my agent said.
Yeah, that's all that matters.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's so most of what matters.
That helps.
Jim, we've spoken in the past about the physicality that comes to the fore when you're voicing your characters. And I mean, you name-checked Yul Brynner and Charles Bronson, both very dynamic, strong physical presences. You say Yul Brynner, I'm automatically thinking of him hands on the hips, standing up very... Yeah. I'm wondering if you feel that in your body when you're in the booth and you're voicing Hondo. I mean, if it's sort of...
Pretty much,
you gain a couple of inches in stature and, the shoulders get a bit broader.
Yeah. It helps. It helps, and with characters like that, a lot of people sit. And, I sit sometimes, but I like to stand. You open up the diaphragm. It's probably from singing. Nobody slumps over and sings because I started off singing so long ago. And it's just more natural.
Even when I used to work in radio, we used to have a standing studio, and you always found the atmosphere and the energy in the room was so much better when we're all standing. Just, I guess we could move around a bit better. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I remember the last time I was in Australia, I visited, it must have been 5, 6, 8 radio stations, and they were really cool, really great people, and every one of them was standing. It was awesome. Very cool.
We should probably mention you're coming back to Australia soon, aren't you, for Supernova in June?
Yes, I am. Come on down.
Yeah, come on down. It's going to be a good time. June 17th, I believe, is Sydney, and then you're heading over the following week to Perth. Perth is going to be lovely.
Yes.
Very good weather over there in Perth.
Oh, good. Absolutely. Well, I was crazy about Brisbane. What a beautiful place. My gosh. Too bad there's no good food. I'm kidding.
Yeah. We've got good everything down here, but let's go back to the birth of Hondo. So you've just read the pitch for the character. How close was your first impression of Hondo to what you eventually settled on for the role?
Well, it's the voice and everything was the same.
Yep.
The audition, what they'll do is because could be a couple months between the audition and the actual show. Okay. And it usually is. And so they said, okay, well, here we go. We're going to play this for you and blah, blah, blah. and there was Hondo, and I just jumped right in and started swimming. And it's interesting. He was written into 2 shows, 2 maybe 3.
Yeah.
What happened, and I'm so blessed, I'm so grateful and thankful. George Lucas liked him.
Really? Specifically George? Wow.
Yeah. And
Have you met George? Have you met George? Spoken to him?
Once a long time ago.
Okay.
And then when I got the Emmy nominations, he wrote me this really nice letter.
Wow.
And and he signed it and everything. And so it was great. It was just an honor. And he was only in maybe like 2.5 shows, and that was it.
That was Clone Wars, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess George saw it, and he said, wait, who's this? Okay, bring him back. I like this guy. Hondo. And so I think I finished off the tail end of that first season there that I was in, and then I was in 5 or 6 of the next one, and then the show concluded. But they went on from Clone Wars to be Star Wars
Rebels.
The Rebels, yeah. And he showed up again, and he was a little bit older, but still just as big a con man. And he was hanging out with Ezra and the whole gang, and I just loved it. I could not believe that they incorporated this guy into yet another of their shows. And I guess it was a universal feeling, thankfully. And I can remember years after that being invited to go down to Disney on the lot. Okay, and what are we doing? And well, it's something to do with Hondo Ohnaka. I go, oh, well, that's nice. And I'm in there, and the guys are walking me through, and it's just like with a movie. They storyboard these movies, and you walk around, and there's like a wall of frames and pictures, and storyboard, boom, 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 and they walk you through it, and then Pooh comes crashing in and flies away and saves the day and defeats the dragon, and the whole bit, and so it was interesting. They're showing me one thing after another, and I'm going, okay, well, this is good. And I go, I mean, gosh, how, you're talking about recording things, and you're talking about doing that, which is great. I'm going to be there. Oh, so you like it? And I go, well, what's not to like? Yeah, of course I like it, And I said, but isn't this going to take forever to build? And they go, oh, we're almost done. I said, oh, get out of here. They just started it. And
so we're just humoring you. If you say no, too bad.
yeah. If we say no, we'll just... I said, yeah, try and stop me. Yeah, there's a slim chance I would like to do this. Yeah. So can we make that happen? And here we are. And I can't tell you how cool the ride is.
I really want to delve into the Smugglers Run and everything a little bit later in the show, because that's incredible. The fact that this character that started off with a couple of episodes in Clone Wars is now the face of Galaxy's Edge. It's amazing.
Well, the big leap for me was always the fact that he started off in a television show and ended up right smack dab in the middle of the Star Wars universe. I mean, he steals the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
I mean, okay. Well, yeah, let's do that then.
There's definitely elements of Han Solo in the role. You can see that he is the Han of the modern style. He's kids today growing up with their version of Star Wars. Hondo is their Han, I think.
Could be. Yeah. He's much better looking.
He's the anti-hero. Yeah, he's much better looking. That is indeed. Yes. But yeah, so you were touching on earlier your inspiration for the role and things like that. But who would you say is a Hondo fan? Everybody loves a good rogue. So what do people like about the character of Hondo? And has their feedback ever shaped the way that you view and play Hondo?
Well, we haven't been recording him much lately, so they're watching all the the raft of shows that are out there.
Yeah,
and so it's it's a gas, and inevitably the young men like him, old men like me. Everybody loves a lovable rogue, and a guy he's not a bad guy. He kind of used to be, but he's been mellowing with age, and it's like he once said, I may not be as young as I once was, but I'm older. And and he says it's like it's a good thing, because it is a good thing.
Yeah.
And, I'm just flabbergasted. I love the fact that people glom onto him. And I think it is that everybody loves a rogue.
Yeah, 100%.
He's not an evil guy, but, you don't want to trust him with your bank card.
Don't leave your wallet on the table. Yeah.
No, just don't do it.
Jim Hondo wasn't the first Star Wars character that you've voiced. I mean, you've voiced characters like Master Oteg and General Skylast in Star Wars: The Old Republic. Is that right?
The RPG game, yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
The RPG, yeah. But not really anything to sort of write home about. I mean, now you're like a true central part of the Star Wars galaxy with Hondo. And I mean, you mentioned the sort of the material and all the behind the scenes stuff that you were privy to when you were first introduced. I mean, was there a lot of education, a lot of homework that you had to do, and sort of like the who, the what, the where, the why? I mean, Star Wars is a saga, man. There's a lot going on.
Oh, yeah. Well, see, fortunately, I was a fan way before I was in the universe.
I wanted to touch on that too. Your Star Wars fandom, yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I remember I was living in New Orleans. I want to say I was.
You were 25 when the first film came out.
Oh, is that what it was? Okay, but I don't even think I was that old.
Were you 52? Was that when you were born?
Well, when did Star Wars come out? The first one.
77.
77. Okay, so yeah, I would have been 20. Yeah, almost 25.
Yep.
Yeah, and so old enough to know better, but didn't. And I just remember being absolutely blown away. I just couldn't believe it. And it's just, and it's one of the coolest things, not to name drop. Oops, too late, Mark Hamill. And I were actually talking on the phone the other day. And I remember it was interesting because we were doing Tasmania, as it would happen. You may have heard of that place. And I was up there and I was doing my thing. And I think Tim Curry took a swing at Batman, or the Joker, I should say. And they said, well, and they moved on to Mark. And Mark was brilliant as the Joker. And the Batman cartoon series, you remember that, I'm sure?
He is the Joker to a whole generation of fans, yeah.
Oh, he is the Joker. He really is. And he's just bloody amazing at it. And one of the producers said, we're up in building B and down in building A, they were doing Batman. And we all kind of knew that. And the buzz was that, oh my God, did you know that Mark Hamill's going to be the new Joker? Get out. You're kidding. Oh, well, I'm going to have to go down there. And as it turned out, I was coming up and I was getting out of my car. As it happened, I had my mother-in-law, my mother, and my good old Aunt Nan, God bless their souls. They were there that day watching Jim go to work. And so they're kind of sitting there in the lobby, and I look out there, and like I said, there's Mark Hamill. I'm going to go say hi. And so,
oh my God.
Yeah, I was kind of like that, I'm going to meet Mark Hamill. And so I walked down, and I said, Mark, and he goes, Jim. And I went, he knows my name. And I walked up and I go, hey man, congratulations! I hear you're down here slumming with us. You're gonna do some cartoon. Oh my God, I've been an animation fan my whole life. Are you kidding me? I love this stuff. So anyway, give me some Darkwing Duck. What? Give me some Darkwing Duck. I am the terror that flaps on the night. Oh, that's good. That's good. So it's in the mask. Okay, sure. Oh, give me some poo. Well, I suppose if I had a smackerel of honey. Oh, that's amazing. See, it's not really falsetto, is it? And I go, no, I don't. What? And he goes, how about Tigger? I go, oh, what a wonderful thing about Tiggers. He goes, oh my God, see, that's just like Paul Winchell. That's amazing. So it all comes from right. I go, hold it right here. You're not getting to meet me. I'm getting to meet you. Okay, let's get that straight.
I'm the fan here. I'm the fan.
Stop knowing me better than I know myself.
I'm the fan. You're you. Remember? But he's just so selfless and self-effacing. He's one of my best buddies in the business. Great guy.
So when you first saw the film, where did you see it? Who'd you see it with? Tell us about your first experience watching Star Wars, the original film.
It just boggled my mind. Well, that was all breakthrough stuff.
Yeah.
You know, all that. I mean, whether it was the green screen, I don't even remember if they had it fixed then, but you know, the way that the speeders went across and it looked like they were hovering, and it was just one thing after another. And then I even liked the way the gun sounded. Pew, pew,
Yeah.
pew. And then subsequent to that, I saw the making of the sounds of Star Wars. Do you guys know how they did that?
No.
Well, they would go out into the country. In America, we got a lot of country. And they would go up to these gigantic telephone poles, and there are big steel cables tied to the top and brought down to the ground, maybe about 15, 20 feet away, pounded into the ground, tight as a drum, and, you know, like a violin string. And they would get the mic, hold it up to the cable, and pound the cable with a hammer. Pew!
So that's the pew pew.
Yeah, and then they would go home and dip it in reverb. Okay, we've got a gun sound. That's how guns sound in the Star Wars long ago in a galaxy far, far away. Fun little trivia fact there.
Oh, brilliant.
If you're enjoying everything we do here at Toon'd and want access to even more Jim Cummings podcasts, you can support the show today on Patreon. Here you'll not only get early and ad-free access to the show, but you'll also get access to our exclusive Q&A podcasts, prize draws, our exclusive Facebook and Discord communities, as well as our Cummings commentaries, where Jim goes back and records audio commentaries for all those classic Disney Afternoons cartoons and in character. We kick things off this month with a revisit of an episode of Darkwing Duck. So go ahead and support Jim by becoming a member of the Toon'd family today at patreon.com/Jim Cummings Podcast. Link is in the description of this show. Do you remember where you saw the film? What cinema?
It was in New Orleans. You know, I was
With friends? With a girlfriend?
no, I think it was just with a couple of buddies.
Just a couple of buddies. Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah,
I
a
mean,
couple of my buddies.
Guy, you would have been how old at the time? What about 8?
I would have been 7 or 8 years old. Yeah, I was born in 69.
Yeah, so you would have had the kid experience, you know, yeah.
Absolutely,
yeah.
yeah. And I mean, I always say, you know, I walked into the cinema one person, I walked out a different person. Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Just an absolute mind blower. And you know, of course, this is the days, you know, prior to VHS, prior to DVD, all that kind of stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
So I must have seen it like 7 times at the cinema because, you know, you'd say to your mates, what are we going to do tonight? Let's go see Star Wars again.
Let's go see Star Wars again.
That's what you did.
Yeah, it was like a hobby. Well, I had, you know, when I first made my first demo tape, I was working at a video store in Anaheim Hills. My sister and brother-in-law owned a few of them with their friends, and
That's an episode in itself, by the way. You managing a video store. I want to get into some stories there.
Yeah, I'm afraid it's probably not. But
okay.
Anyway, yeah, what are you gonna do? But I remember when Star Wars was being released, they gave us these placards, and it said Star Wars coming August of blah blah blah. You know, and a guy would come in once a week and go, "So have you got Star Wars yet?" And I go, "George, it's June. Look at the sign." No, I don't have it.
You made the film. You should know this.
Yeah. It was a different George.
Yeah.
But, you know, and when it came out, you know, we had the big screens such as they were back then. And I just put it on in the morning and just let it play all day. Get out another one. I didn't even rewind it. Put it in another tape deck to rewind it. Got a fresh one. Put it in there. We're watching Star Wars again. And I would have people, you know, the guys from the pizza joint would down the street would come up and they'd bring a slice or two of pizza. Dude, do you mind if we sit and watch? Yeah, go right ahead. Go right ahead. They're copping a squat. They're going, man, this is so good. You know, and it was Star Wars time.
Yeah.
So, you know, to allow me to be a little asterisk in that universe is okay.
Yeah, that's
you know?
amazing.
Not to steal any of Jim's thunder, because this is Tuned in with Jim Cummings, not with Guy Davis. But when my dad brought home our first VCR, our first video recorder back in 1980 or 1981 or something, I was like, oh, that looks cool. Oh, we'll be able to record shows on the TV. Then he pulled out from behind his back VHS of Star Wars. I was like, oh, Father, I've never loved you more. Wore that tape out.
Oh, yeah.
I have just a quick question for you, Jim. Just your experience growing up with Star Wars, did that inform any of your performance as Hondo, or did that inspire anything inside of that character for you?
Well, yeah, it did actually. In a way, that's a pretty good question, because I noticed that if you notice that, I mean, every now and then there'd be an Australian Star Wars character, or from, you know, Tasmania, and a lot of Brits.
Yeah.
in the Star Wars universe.
Obi-Wan.
Yeah, everyone. Yeah, I mean, and then Darth Vader, whatever, he was so cool. He didn't, you didn't know where he was from. You didn't care because it was James Earl Jones. I knew that I wanted to make him sound, well, which is what I always say when they get a British guy or an Australian guy. Well, they want him to sound foreign, but we still would like to understand what the hell he's saying. So, and that was kind of my guideline with Hondo. I said, well, we got to make sure he sounds foreign, but it'd be still fun to know what he's talking about. So that's kind of where that came in.
I think with the Hondo character, you bring a real charm and wit to the Star Wars universe that allows shows like Clone Wars and Rebels to appeal to viewers of all ages. Hondo, the dialogue's clever. However, more importantly, I think just your delivery is so comedically timed to perfection that even though kids may not truly understand what he's saying, they're still able to enjoy it. Was it always obvious that Hondo was going to be such a generational role?
No, not at all. Like I said, he was in and out. 2-3 episodes. I think it was in 2 episodes, then out of one, then a really small part in the next one.
And that's all you thought he was going to be ever? Just 3 episodes?
Yeah. Well, I had no idea.
Little did they know that Jim Cummings was going to be voicing him, and then the whole world was going to change.
Oh yeah, the whole world. Well, my whole world changed. That's for sure. Because everybody you want to do, I mean, be associated with Star Wars. Well, let me think. Okay. Yeah, let's do that. So it was awesome. It's an honor, and I take it very seriously. I don't take myself seriously, but I take the work seriously.
Did you audition for any other roles for Clone Wars before you got Hondo, or was Hondo the first one you went for?
No, I auditioned for I think Boba Fett? I didn't. I wasn't feeling it, but Hondo, I really, really liked it because of the way he was written. Yeah. He was clever, and he wasn't, like I said, he wasn't an evil bad guy.
Anti-hero, yeah.
Yeah, anti-hero, yeah. And some people have likened him to, a character I did for Tailspin called Don Carnage. Mm-hmm. And they said, Don Carnage in space. And I said, well, he doesn't sound like Don. No, he doesn't sound like it. And I go, oh, okay, good. But they both have a tongue-in-cheek, and they're kind of self-effacing. But you don't want to, but don't turn your back.
Before you did a really good Mark Hamill, do you do any good Star Wars impressions? Like, can you do the voices? Like, did you ever used to do them growing up? I think everyone's tried to do at least a Yoda at some point. You know what I mean? Like, do you do any of the Star Wars characters?
Jeez, my throat's actually, help you I can. You see Yoda. That was it. And there, that's my Darth Vader.
We can all do that one.
Pretty scary, huh? It's like he was in the room.
And that's what I love about, there was a film that came out several years ago called Rogue One, and that's what I felt that the newer Star Wars films might have been lacking, was that hero, that villain like Darth Vader, where all you had to hear was the and everybody panics. It's just that role, which James Earl Jones did such a fantastic job with that role.
It was incredible. I had occasion to meet him a couple of times. Yeah. And just a giant of a man, a big-hearted fellow. And I will tell you this this little out-of-school story, so it's perfect for this. I was recording many years ago, but also many hundreds of times at a place called Buzzy's down on Melrose in Hollywood. And I went into the bathroom, did my thing. I'm over there washing my hand, and I hear this incredible voice going, "This is CNN. This is CNN. No, that's not right. This is CNN. Yes." And he got the read. He was getting the read in his head.
Wow, wait. It's like your Sterling story.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, wow, okay. So I was there when he got this is CNN. This is CNN. No, this is CNN. And of course, he went in there and recorded probably 2 lines. Probably 2 takes, and left. And bagrillions of dollars later, here we are.
That is just astonishing.
Now I get to tell yet another classy story from Jim Cummings.
That is fantastic.
In the bathroom. Thank you.
Oh man. But with the way Hondo, right? The way it was selected to play, you mentioned Smugglers Run earlier, the way it was selected to play such a pivotal role in Disneyland's Galaxy's Edge, it's pretty obvious how important Disney themselves see the character. Tell us about, you touched on it earlier about the storyboards, but tell us how they first approached you about making that ride. And did you know it was going to be more than a ride at the time when they were pitching it to you? Because you got the big animatronic and he was there at the grand opening and things like that, with someone dressed up.
Yeah.
He's almost like the face of Galaxy's Edge.
Oh, well, yeah, well, very much so. If only it were mine. But I think we look a little alike. But, no, I mean, honestly, it was an incredible honor. Over the years, I've had X amount of rides there. The Winnie the Pooh, the Winnie the Pooh ride.
Ray was on one, was he not?
Yeah, he was for a while. And now I guess they're going to redo Thunder Mountain as Princess Tiana's something. But Ray was in any number of shows. The Fantasmic and Winnie the Pooh and Tigger all over the place. Mm-hmm. And, now with Galaxy's Edge, and it's just, I kind of can't believe it a little bit. And King Louie, and I've done any number of shows for Disneyland, for the ride. And Tokyo Disney, King Louie's got this amazing, unbelievable show that he anchors, and he's just
really
going around doing his thing. Yeah, I'm the king of the swingers. Whoa, the jungle VIP. And it's like everybody's dancing, everybody's clapping, and it's cool as hell.
You see me smile there because my kids, that is their favorite song at the moment. We listen to it every time we go in the car. Just seeing you sing it makes me smile.
Oh, and rightly so. They're clearly young ones of discerning taste. Good job, Dad.
My 2-year-old, Jungle Book.
Yeah. And I work with Phil, the great Phil Harris, any number of times. And that was just, I was just through the roof on that. That was amazing. That was a bucket list thing. Of course, he's no longer with us. He was a very much older fella. How you doing there, little britches? And just recently, do I dare announce this to the world? There was a big celebration that they put together. Rick Dempsey and the gang at Disney Character Voices, and I was on the phone with him, and we were talking about, I don't even remember what we were talking about. It's just a couple months ago. I said, so what are you guys doing now? He goes, I'm going nuts trying to find a Baloo. And I said, oh, come on there. How hard can that be? You gotta use up bare necessities. He goes, oh God, now you're going to be Baloo. And I said, am I? And he goes, yeah. Did I just audition? He goes, no, you just got a part. And I said, oh, well, good. Yeah, I meant to do that. And I'm coming to a theater near you. To be continued.
Do you think your ability to just listen to a voice and then replicate it has anything to do with your musical talents? Just being able to pick up a guitar or any instrument, because you were very musical growing up. Do you think that musical element helped you sort of have the ear for listening and being able to just replicate it like that? Because many musicians can just pick up a guitar and just hear a song and play it.
Yeah.
Know?
Well, that's not me, but I can pick up a guitar and hand it to someone and then listen. I'm really good at that. But no, I was always a singer, like from, I don't know.
Yeah.
6th grade, 7th grade. And I would, and I think I told you this before, what I would do is I would kind of imitate, because you're never going to do exactly a sound alike, but I would do a Joe Cocker song and I would try to sound like him. I'd do a Three Dog Night song. I'd try to sound like them. Temptations, And so I think what happened was along the way, I was accidentally developing a pretty good knack for mimicry and picking up voices. I've always said, I've had discussions with friends of mine in the business that a lot of times, there's musicality in everything, in just everyday speech. Like if I told you, well, I think I'm going to go out and hit the road now. That could have been a sax solo right there. And, and I've just had that in my head my whole life. and I think it served me well. You know, it's just, I don't know, maybe a little tip for those expiring voice actors out there.
Indeed.
Yes, Mr. Davis, have you something to say?
Something to share with the class.
Yes.
Pick me, I'm ever so smart. Getting back to Hondo for a sec, and to Smugglers Run and Galaxy's Edge, the animatronic there has been described as, well, a lot of people have described as one of the best they've ever seen. I'm wondering how much influence or sway you had in the development of that. I mean, I imagine that they probably weren't as much open to improvising, or was it kind of similar? Was the process similar to when you were voicing him in other circumstances?
Oh, it was very similar. And I realized, because when I go, they're very kind. They provide a chaperone, if you will, somebody who
certainly
lets
hope
you
so.
sneak onto the front of the line, right? No waiting.
Nice.
But unfortunately,
Have you ever had someone go, "Hey, I don't care who that guy is, get to the back"?
Yeah. Where do you think you're going there, mister? But no, it was fun, but the sad thing, what I was going to get at is, unfortunately, that takes you out of the line, and they have things to kind of ameliorate the agony of waiting for an hour in line, and there's these little vignettes that pop up on a screen, and I remember doing them, and some of them were really funny. And we didn't get to see them.
You can find all videos of them on YouTube, but, Jim Cummings, he's not going to wait an hour in line for a ride. That's just not going to happen. But,
No, it is absolutely not.
You can find them on YouTube, and they are very, very funny, yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, good.
That's what Disney does so well, is it keeps you entertained even when you're supposed to be bored.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Have you ever ridden Smugglers Run yourself?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah? What did you think of the ride?
Oh yeah, it was great. It was really interesting. I rode it before it was a ride up in Glendale when they were still developing it, and it was when there's no Millennium Falcon wrapped around it, it looks like this big sort of, like, here's the pod where you're sitting in, and here's an arm here, and you go up there, and there's a screen. Have you been on it? I don't know.
I haven't been there yet, not since they've launched it. No.
When you get in there and you're in the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
You walk in and Chris will tell you we're gonna and you want to sit out there in the lounge. I want to sit here and play that hologram chess for a little while, And the problem they had with that was that people were just getting out of line. Not even one. I mean, they did the ride, but they were filling up the darn thing, because it's like, I'm on the Millennium Falcon. You're sitting there like a goober doing, loving life, because you're sitting in this iconic thing. It's life size. It boggles your mind. You turn this corner and you go, oh, wow. Okay.
That's the real thing.
Yeah, that's really good. It doesn't, there's nothing.
That's very good. Quote Jim Cummings.
Yes, that's really good. And so, we went up there and we're playing, but like I said, prior to that, I was at the launching, the developing of it, and they had said, would you like to go up and give it a look? And I go, oh, try and stop me. So you climb up this gangplank, maybe 10 steps, and open it up. Yeah, boom. You shut the door behind it, and there's a gunner there's 4 people on it, or is it 6? No, it's 6. 4 people, 2 in front. One's steering up and down, one's going left and right. The 2 in the back are gunners, and the 2 people in the very back are something, and I don't remember what it was, but it was boring, so I didn't want to do it. And I think they were mapping something or tracking the stars or doing something like that. And I get up there, and we're taking off, and it's really immersive. And you're sitting there, and you're going, oh wow! And then you could feel yourself going up, and you're going, okay. Then it's, all right, everybody, let's go. Hondo screaming that, right? So I'm sitting there talking to myself, and off we go. And I went like this, and all of a sudden we just went, and you were just, and I mean perpendicular to the floor, like, your butt and your head were level with the floor. And then we're going, okay, this is actual gravity. I'm going to fall. If I were not strapped in, I'd be crying right now. Something would break. And, you ride it back up again, then you're going there. And I've heard people say that they just do the ride, then they get off, and they have, they'll rotate friends like throughout the line, so that, okay, you're like 20 people back. I'm going to do the ride, then run around, then I'm going to get on it with you. And then we're going to run around and get on the ride with George.
Yep.
You know, and it's like, it's one of those rides.
Yeah.
It's pretty addictive, and I can't recommend it enough. Tell them that Hondo sent you.
Yeah. And the fact that you were the face of it is just incredible.
So, having said that, I mean, in what is tantamount to a crime against humanity, you didn't actually attend. There was a very grand launch party for Galaxy's Edge, which understandably your absence was felt. I mean,
Oh, yes.
is it true that Mark Hamill himself sort of called and was like, where's Jim?
Yeah, he's a good guy. Like I said, I just talked with him the other day, and he called me. Where are you? What the heck's going on? And I unfortunately at the time I was involved in a big to do down at the courthouse of all places, and got that resolved. Thank you, Lord. The good guys won, by the way. And so full speed ahead. But, that's one party I would not have minded attending. But, it all came out in the wash.
What do you think when you see your phone? It's like, oh, it's Mark again. What does he want this time? It's just amazing to think that, this man who you went to see at the cinema, 1977, was Luke Skywalker, and now he's a friend.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. I've had that a few times in my life. I've been very fortunate to work with incredible people. I mean, household names, and it's just one of the perks of, I guess, because a lot of stars like to kind of moonlight, and they'll come in and do something, and well, it's for the kids. Well, it's for the grandkids, and that's something they're thinking. Yeah, you're having fun. They're not making a ton of money, but not like they used to. But I've heard that Bruce Willis did that, did his little animated film for for his kids. Yeah. And I know that Rita Moreno, who told me not to be a name dropper, too late. Anyway, she just had the time of her life, when we did Bonkers, and Ron Perlman, from the Beast himself. I mean, he's an amazing, he's a good buddy. He's a friend of mine. And he kind of moonlighted for a while and did a few animated characters here and there. He was on Bonkers and a couple other things. So
voice like that one, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I'm skirting through Hollywood and around the edges of stardom, I guess you could say, but definitely on the edges.
I'm sure they'll all come on this show and have a good chat with you someday.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Oh yeah. Well, we get along.
Now, Disney digs Hondo. The fans definitely dig
Yes,
Hondo.
they do.
So what's the next move for this guy? Live action series. The people demand it.
It's surely happening, right?
We're not waiting on me. I can tell you that. When Ahsoka Tano popped up in The Mandalorian, I was thinking, oh, wow, there's my old girlfriend. Of course, she was everybody's old girlfriend, but that's okay. We don't want to talk about that. And I thought, well, surely they're going to need Hondo. And nothing so far. In fact, I was hoping you guys could put in a word and see what you can make happen. Cast this pod right up there and Bob Iger's.
Bob, we know you are listening to this show right now. Everybody wants a live action Hondo.
You're not fooling anyone, Bob.
If there's one show that Bob subscribes to, it is Toon'd In with Jim Cummings. That is for damn sure.
That's right.
We already saw you de-age Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones. Frankly, Jim doesn't need it, but
Yeah. This is the thing. It's funny you bring up Indiana Jones. I feel like a Hondo series would almost feel like an Indiana Jones kind of series. It'd had that element of adventurous fun, I think.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, I've got a name for it. The Ohnaka Chronicles. Do you like that?
Sorted.
See, Disney, you don't have to think of a title. It's ready to go.
It's right
Jim's
there,
already got,
yes.
Jim and Chris have already written the scripts. You just got to give fund it. That's it. It's done.
Absolutely.
And what hasn't been written, they'll improvise.
Yes. Oh, yes, they will.
Green light, green light, green light.
Or Hondo, the early years. That's not bad.
We are big on prequels now, aren't we?
Yeah, we are.
Would you prefer to do a prequel series and tap into that element of the character, or do you think you'd want to expand on what you've already created? So going forward into the future, or do you think you'd like to sort of show how he became Hondo? What do you think? What would you prefer?
Yes, to all of the above.
I was about to say, the little taco girl, why don't we have both?
Yeah, well, Hondo, as a kid, he used to deliver pizzas. No, he didn't. No, he didn't.
Well, he could have.
Made that up.
And that's what Chris wrote, and then you had to change it. Yeah,
yeah, that's right. Yeah, I don't know.
What would be Hondo's favorite flavor of pizza topping?
Wookie. No, I don't know.
Porg.
That's a good question. I don't know, but when you go to Galaxy's Edge, they've got, there is a cantina there, and yes, it's full of all the people that you're used to seeing in Star Wars cantinas.
The cantina was just always so enchanting as a kid. When that music hits, it just takes you to another world, doesn't it?
Yeah, I've got a picture of myself and those guys down at Disney World. Yeah, like
the band.
10 years ago. And those guys, they're walking around the band, with the heads, whatever they, and they're
Cantina band, yep.
playing that Fakakta song.
Wow,
or from their medley of their greatest hit.
It's funny, I'm not sure if this happens in America, but here in Australia we have these. I know you obviously got claw machines, but the claw machines for chocolates in Australia uses the cantina music. I'm not sure if they've paid any royalties for that, but you go to a pub or anything like that, and they've got the chocolate claw machine. It's doot 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 doot. It's always got the cantina music.
Oh, that's cool.
Hilarious.
Yeah, it is very cool. Very It just lures the kids in to want to spend money to get the chocolate out of the claw machine.
Yeah. Oh, gosh.
Well,
That's
before
funny.
we wrap up today talking about Hondo, of course, the final question we need to ask you is, if you had the chance to travel to a galaxy far, far away and meet Hondo, what would you say to him?
Oh, keep up the good work. And try and dig up a new series for us. That might be something
Prequel
worth,
or anything.
Prequel or anything, yeah.
Yes. Now, before we let you go, Jim, of course, you're going to promote next week's show. But before we do that, what do you got coming up in the next week or so? Like, what's going on in Jim Cummings' world?
Well, unfortunately, the writer's strike means that I'm not doing one heck of a lot. But I'll be down in Perth and then Sydney in the not too distant future.
You can go to jimcummingsworld.com to find up all the future dates for conventions, Jim's appearances, and things like that. You can also listen to next week's show early and ad-free on Jim's Patreon, and finding other exclusive content on there as well, such as behind-the-scenes videos of Jim recording, some blooper videos, which are absolutely hilarious, plus some of Cummings' commentaries, where Jim and Guy and Chris and myself will sit down and watch something from Jim's previous catalogue on Disney Plus and just chat about it as we're watching it, a bit of a watch-along there. Plus, next week, we're going to be doing something a bit different, no topic in particular. It's going to be Ask Jim Anything. So we're going to be asking for your questions.
Oh, boy.
We'll handpick some, and we will get Jim to answer them on the show, so make sure you contribute to that. But, of course, follow us on social media at Jim Cummings Pod on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, wherever you find your social media channels, and patreon.com/Jim Cummings Podcast if you want to get early and ad-free access to this show and all the extra bonus exclusive content available only on the Toon'd with Jim Cummings Patreon channel. But once again, guys, it's been an absolute joy to sit back here and banter and chat and delve deep into the Hondo character. Thank you, Guy, for joining me. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
And thank you to the one and the only, the reason we're all here, the legend, the Disney icon, Jim Cummings.
Thanks, guys. God bless. See you next time. Stay tuned.